guys! I'm back. It's my second video. First of all, I really want to thank everyone, everyone who even watched a little bit of my first video, because the support just, honestly, it surprised me a lot, and I really appreciate it. So thank you, and a huge thank you to everyone who subscribed and commented. Today I want to talk about culture shock, because it's a really interesting subject. I think there are two kinds of culture shock. I think real culture shock, or I shouldn't say real, but I think that, I guess, more serious culture shock is kind of like the kinds of things that make you feel depressed and really miss home and just feel like out of place and confused on a really deep level. That's to me is like a different kind of culture shock than the things that I want to talk about in today's video, which is kind of like quirky things that people do in Japan that kind of I guess shocked me. That's why I consider it to be culture shock, because these things did shock me. Okay, let's start. There are tons and tons of vending machines all over Japan. It feels like more than in America, and they're outside. It's like randomly vending machines will be outside, and they're always drink machines, and they usually have the same drinks, usually the same kinds of drinks in them. They have hot drinks as well in them, which is really cool. In the winter you can get a hot drink out of a vending machine. The weather in Japan is really extreme, and by that I mean that it's not really hot in Japan or really cold in Japan. It's both. In winter it's really cold, and in summer it's really hot. It feels even more extreme because there's no central heating or air conditioning or insulation in most buildings in Japan. I think that's because of earthquakes and stuff, I guess. I don't really know, but it's freezing in the winter and super hot in the summer. There are really no public trash cans in Japan. It's really rare to see one out. Even in buildings, even outside of buildings, it's pretty rare to see them. Sometimes you see the ones that are specifically meant for bottles beside the vending machines, but in general, it's really hard to find a trash can. But it's not dirty here at all. No one litters at all. So basically when people have trash, they just keep it on them until they find a trash can. You know, the stereotype for Asian toilets, which is a hole in the ground? That's true. A Japanese style toilet is essentially just a hole in the ground, and you have to squat down to go. And they are still, even though it's, you know, modern day, it's still really popular in Japan to see a Japanese style toilet. They either have a Japanese style toilet, which is in the ground, a hole in the ground, or they have a really elaborate commode type, Western type toilet. And by elaborate, I mean it has all of these functions, electronic functions, bidet and a heated toilet seat and all this crazy stuff. Bugs in Japan are really huge and scary and just, oh my god, they just seem so exotic. I don't even know. Fruit is also I feel bigger in Japan, or maybe it's because when you go to the grocery store, all of the fruit is in perfect condition. They don't sell bruised fruit or damaged or bad looking deformed fruit. Only perfect fruit, and that's why it's so expensive. There's another thing called yaeba, and it's basically it's when someone, usually girls, usually young girls, when they have a snaggle tooth or crooked teeth, it can be considered really cute. Actually, some women get a surgery to get a snaggletooth implanted. Usually what people get is a kind of canine-like tooth, kind of on top of and a little bit above their other canine tooth. Most people in Japan don't text. They use Line, which is an app for iPhones, because basically everyone has an iPhone, or at least a smartphone. I use Line with basically everyone that I know in Japan, including foreigners. And some people email. Before smartphones were really popular, everyone emailed. So I guess texting is just not a big thing in Japan. In public bathrooms, there's usually, I want to say usually, sometimes, but usually, there are no paper towels or hand soap. Usually, it's more likely for them to have hand soap, but there are basically never paper towels. Sometimes they have the air drying things, but sometimes they just have no soap or towels and you're expected to just wash your hands with water. The way that Japanese people count on their hands is like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I guess they do that for 10. But yeah, it's really interesting how they count on their hands. When you live in Japan, you have to sort all of your garbage into all of the following sections. Aluminum cans, magazines, cardboard boxes, newspapers, burnables, glass bottles, paper boxes, unburnables, and pet bottles, and plastics. Basically, it kind of comes down to just plastic and burnables, which is like paper and plastic. In the summer, Japanese women tend to cover their whole like body with clothing. It looks crazy when you first see it because they look like they're burning up, but it's actually so that they don't get a tan or sunburn. Working hours in Japan are like insane. They work extremely long hours. So I go to work at 8 o'clock in the morning and I leave at 4. The other teachers get there at like 7 to 7:30, maybe even earlier depending on the position, and then they stay until, honestly, at least 6. They would leave at 6 at the earliest, and then some stay, I guess, until 7 or 8, and then again, depending on the position, I think some stay at school until maybe like 10. So like, do the math. My camera died. When you go to the store and you buy like pads or tampons, they put them in a paper bag or like a blacked out plastic bag. It's like really dramatic. Like it's obviously meant to conceal that you've bought an embarrassing item, but then now you have this like really obvious black bag so everyone is aware that you bought the embarrassing item. Cell phones have really loud cameras. You can't take a picture like discreetly, silently, and that is because men will have like tried to take pictures up girls' skirts without them knowing it. I had never heard of this before I came to Japan. You have to get a health check every single year. Like your job forces you to get a health check every year. And I don't mean, it's not the same as a health check in America. It's not like, oh, just checking your ears and eyes. This checking your ears, eyes, you know, height and weight and all that. All the stuff that you would get in America. Plus, they also check your blood, which that was the first time I'd ever had my blood taken in my life. I didn't even know my blood type. Everyone was so shocked to know that I didn't know my blood type. I'm O negative, by the way. So yeah, they all know their blood types, and they do like blood type astrology, so they think that it like gives you a certain personality. When you work in a school, when you're an ALT, you won't be able to show your shoulders. I've worn like cap sleeve shirts here to work, and I've actually gotten a teacher like tell me I can't wear it. Not that I can't wear it, because the Japanese person would never say you can't wear it, but they made it obvious that I shouldn't wear it. You can't just go to the bathroom anytime you want. It's really interesting because to say that you need to go to the bathroom, we say we need to go to the bathroom. In Japanese, it's toire ni ikitai, which means I want to go to the bathroom. So their mentality is that it's a want more than a need, I guess. So it's a little weird to like get up and go to the bathroom in a lot of situations. Like if I'm in class, I can't just go. There have been 2 times when I actually asked the teacher that I was teaching with if it was okay for me to go because I wasn't really doing anything, and they said, oh yes, and all of the kids like eyes were glued on me when I left, and then when I came back they were just staring me down, and the teacher was like, daijoubu, daijoubu, like, are you okay? And I'm like, yes, I'm fine, I just went to the bathroom. In junior high school, middle school, they have like home economics class where they learn how to cook. They also have a class called moral education, and it's an actual class where they are taught, I guess, ethics? I'm not quite sure how to explain this class because it's not always just teaching ethics. It's like sometimes just, it's kind of a thing that in America your parents would need to talk to you about, like those kinds of subjects. They have a class called moral education for that. Japanese people draw circles from the bottom like that. Think about it, like the way that we draw circles is from the top. You know, like when you circle something, they always do it from the bottom. So interesting. And it's the same with hearts. They always do like a heart from the bottom. They never do like ching ching. They don't do that. In Japan, every single kid is required to be in a club, which most of the time means sports team. Like they have table tennis, tennis, volleyball, basketball, baseball, swimming. They have like tons. They also have like music and art clubs too. But every single kid is in a club. Elementary schools have swimming pools so that they can like do swimming lessons in school. Also, in elementary and junior high school, they have something called soji, which is cleaning time. So every day, every school day, there is a break of about, I want to say like 15 or 20 minutes where everyone in the school cleans in silence. Like, even in elementary school, first graders are sweeping and wiping the floors and cleaning the toilets and scrubbing things and dusting things and vacuuming, and the whole school is just buzzing around cleaning and there's no one talking. Ovens aren't really popular in Japan. A lot of people just have toaster ovens, like I just have a toaster oven. I think if you have a house, you might have an oven, but like a lot of people just live in apartments and they don't have ovens. In general, you are supposed to eat every single thing on your plate. Especially in school lunch, when I eat school lunch, it's like not an option to not eat something. School lunch in Japan is kind of mind-blowing. There is a school lunch center that makes all of the lunches for all of the schools in the whole city. And then they like ship it out to them in these like metal containers that keep it hot. And so when it reaches the school, there's a lunch lady who disperses it onto the trays, and everyone in the entire school, in the entire city, eats the exact same lunch on that day. Hey guys, I'm so sorry I had to go back to this location because the light in the other room was darkening, the sun setting, and the overhead light in that room is actually behind me, so I couldn't really use anything other than natural light. So I'm back here. So I was talking about school lunch in Japan, and yeah, everyone eats the exact same thing at the same time. Literally, there's a lunch chime in the city. Like everyone eats lunch around like 12:30. And it's really interesting because like everyone has the same portions. So like for example, I have the same portions as a grown man and as, you know, like a first grader. Honestly, I could say a lot about school lunch. It's really controversial among ALTs, like in the JET community. A lot of people choose not to do it. I actually know a couple of people in my prefecture who opted out of school lunch for various reasons. There are a lot of reasons to join in it and a lot of reasons not to. I might make a video on that in the future because there's a lot to say about it. I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. There very well may be a part 2 to this video because, you know, Japan has a lot of quirky things like that. Please let me know if you like this video, give it a thumbs up if you do, and subscribe if you haven't. I would really appreciate it. As always, if you have any requests or questions, comment below. I didn't expect for people to really care about my videos, but it means a lot, so thank you. Yeah, so until next time, bye!